I found out from a stranger, not from my son, not from my daughter, from a court clerk who asked me to confirm my address. That's how I learned my children had filed for guardianship. Without telling me, I didn't react immediately. Shock is loud, strategy is quiet. I thanked the clerk, hung up the phone, and sat very still in my living room. I breathed in, then out. The silence in the house was a heavy blanket. The ticking of the grandfather clock in the hall seemed to count down the seconds to a future I hadn't chosen. Guardianship is not concern. It is control. It's a legal mechanism that sounds protective, but in reality, it strips you of your autonomy. Once granted, it transfers your decisions to someone else. Your finances, your medical care, your home, your property all reassigned. You remain alive, but legally, you disappear. You become a passenger in your own life, your voice muted, your choices made for you. It's a quiet, legal death while your heart is still beating. They had already described me in the petition. I could almost hear their voices as I imagined the words on the page. Increasing confusion, financial misjudgment, vulnerability to influence. I recognized the language. It was carefully chosen, not emotional. It was clinical. They weren't attacking me. They were documenting me. And documentation, I knew, is dangerous. It builds a narrative, brick by brick, until it looks like a solid wall of fact. Even if it's built on a foundation of lies for months. I had noticed the small shifts, the repeated questions about things I'd already answered, the subtle corrections when I told a story, the way conversations would abruptly stop when I entered a room, leaving a lingering trail of whispers. They weren't worried. They were building a case. Each small interaction wasn't a moment of connection. It was an observation, a piece of evidence they were collecting to use against me. They were gathering stones to throw, and I hadn't even realized a battle was coming. I didn't confront them, not yet. Confrontation would have been an emotional release, a storm of accusations and tears. But storms pass. What I needed was a foundation, something solid to stand on. Instead, I called an elder law attorney the next morning. His voice was calm, methodical. He listened carefully as I explained everything. The mysterious call from the court, the paperwork I hadn't seen, the conversations that felt rehearsed, the quiet, unsettling distancing from my own children. Then he asked a pivotal question. Have you had a cognitive evaluation recently? A small smile touched my lips. Yes, I said. 6 months earlier, during a routine doctor's appointment. I had requested one privately. It was a full assessment. Memory recall, reasoning, executive function, the works. The results were clear, printed on official letterhead, tucked away in my desk drawer. No impairment. Strong cognition for my age. The doctor had been pleased. I had been reassured. The attorney nodded slowly on the other end of the line. I could almost hear the gears turning in his mind. That changes the entire direction of this, he said. And for the first time since that phone call, a wave of real hope washed over me. This wasn't just my word against theirs. This was data. This was proof. The hearing was scheduled just 2 weeks later. In that time, my son avoided my calls. My daughter sent short, careful text messages that said nothing at all. They believed the filing itself, the sheer legal weight of it, would be enough to pressure me into compliance. They thought I would crumble, that I would accept their help just to make it all go away. They misunderstood something important about me. Fear makes people rush. Fear makes people make mistakes. And I do not rush. In court, the room felt cold and formal. Their attorney spoke first, his voice smooth and practiced. "We are deeply concerned for her safety," he began. "There have been behavioral changes, financial inconsistencies, such a soft, gentle word for what they were truly accusing me of." He painted a picture of a frail, confused old woman who couldn't be trusted with her own checkbook, her own well-being. The judge, a woman with sharp, intelligent eyes, turned toward me. "Do you understand the petition that has been filed against you?" she asked. Her voice was even, giving nothing away. "Yes, Your Honor, I do." "And do you believe you are incapable of managing your own affairs?" "No, Your Honor, I do not." My voice didn't shake. It was as steady as my resolve. My attorney stood and submitted the medical evaluation. The courtroom grew quiet as the judge read. Each page, you could feel the atmosphere shift. The narrative my children had so carefully constructed began to fracture. The judge looked up from the papers and addressed my son directly. "What medical evidence supports this petition?" Silence, a thick, heavy silence filled the space between them. "She forgets things sometimes," my son finally mumbled, his eyes on the floor. The judge did not look impressed. She leaned forward slightly. "Occasional forgetfulness does not meet the legal threshold for incompetence. We all forget things." And then came the 2 words I had been waiting for. Guardianship denied. Just like that, it was over. But what mattered more than the ruling was the exposure. They had walked in expecting to be granted authority. Instead, they faced scrutiny. Their intentions, however they might frame them, were laid bare under the harsh lights of the court. Outside the courtroom, in the echoing hallway, my daughter approached me. "We were just trying to protect you," she said softly, as if that excused the secrecy, the ambush. "Protection does not begin with secrecy," I told her, my voice low but firm. "Protection does not remove someone's voice without warning. True. Protection empowers. It doesn't imprison." That evening, I updated my estate plan, not out of anger, but with absolute clarity. I strengthened the oversight clauses. I added automatic legal alerts for any filings related to my assets or my person. I limited access and clarified my wishes in undeniable terms. It was my own form of quiet protection. Weeks passed. The whispers stopped. The subtle tests disappeared. They realized something essential. I am aging. That is true. But aging is not surrender. They filed for guardianship without telling me. They thought a stack of paperwork would silence me. They thought a judge would simply agree with them. They were wrong. Because competence is not about speed, or youth, or perfection. It's about awareness. And I am very, very aware. Let this be a lesson. The most dangerous mistake you can ever make is assuming the quiet woman in the room does not understand exactly what you are trying to take from her. Thank you for listening.